Hi friends, this is your pal Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and we're going to talk about the brand new 2025 Channing Tatum, Lakeith Stanfield, Kirsten Dunst, Jimmy O Yang, Ben Mendelsohn, Uzo Aduba, uh, absolute banger, 5 out of 5 star film, Roofman. Just phenomenal film that really has a lot. It adds to the power of American narrative, the power of American identity, and it's got some lessons for every dungeon master and every dragon master in the middle of it. And I want to talk about it together. Warning: there are major spoilers for Roofman in this content. Let's go. Okay, so this movie is a true story about actually, this movie states that. Let me not say this movie is a true story. This movie states at the beginning, flat out, this is a true story. Okay, so this gentleman. So according to this film, this gentleman in 1998 in North Carolina robbed 45 McDonald's by going up at night, tunneling through the roof, getting down into the McDonald's, then waiting for the manager and the opening staff to come, locking them into the cold room and stealing their safe money from the weekend. And he would get thousands of dollars from this. And he went to prison. Then he went to prison and he escaped prison. So he escaped prison, and then but rather than leaving the area, he lived in a Toys R Us for 6 months. It's an amazing story. I cannot recommend it highly enough. But it was really fascinating. So this man is played by Channing Tatum. So in Roofman, Channing Tatum is this criminal. And there's this incredible question of identity in it. When everybody who he robbed, with the exception of, I think, that they did interviews with, that they showed in the film, said he was a very nice man. He was very nice as he was robbing us. And the movie presents him as almost as a Robin Hood, a criminal with a heart of gold. But he was a terrible person, and he was a straight up criminal. And the biggest thing is he was bringing a gun to these, right? Like he was holding, teenagers and college students and mothers and fathers at gunpoint. And what really blew me away is it became extremely clear in the film. The moment you introduce a gun into the situation, you have put incredible violence into the air, right? Because by even holding that gun in that position, right, like, bringing it into the scene, you're like, I'm willing to murder you, right? And then you put people in this position where and it was very clear that he expected, oh, I have a gun, you can die, so you need to do what I'm going to say. And increasingly, Americans are not doing this. Like, they're like, if you threaten my life, I'm willing to try to kill you, right? And then that means that gun could shoot anybody in this situation, right? And I do think people, like, if you're stuck up and you're at gunpoint, my humble opinion, I get it, right? I totally get it. You don't have to do what they say. Just because somebody brings a gun and you don't have a gun, that doesn't mean you need to do what they say. You can do whatever you want. This is America. We have independence, right? Like, and so, but the moment you bring that gun into the situation, you've introduced incredible violence, the high probability of incredible violence to the situation, and you've endangered multiple people's lives. So he thought he was a good guy, and even Hollywood, I think, thinks he's a good guy. He's presented as this criminal with a heart of gold, and Channing Tatum does an amazing job presenting this. He even wins over this woman who has 2 teenage daughters and becomes like a father figure to these girls, and like a substitute husband for her. He doesn't marry her, but he's functioning. He's taking all the liberties of a husband, right? Like, he's functioning as a husband, and he was an abominable monster, right? And I think what really is fascinating is this idea that he was telling himself in his head as he robbed people every single week, putting a gun in their face and introducing the high probability of incredible violence to their lives. I'm the good guy. I'm the good guy. I'm the good guy. And since we have to put ourselves since we have to be a bad guy every Saturday, every Sunday when we bring these worlds, and we have to inhabit the mind space, the heart space, the memories, the emotions, the sensations of a villain. If you are a dungeon master, you have got to see this, right? And if you're a dragon master, you don't inhabit bad people. You don't, Dungeons and Dragons is running heroes of the borderland. It's not called villains of the borderland, right? But it would help you even as a dragon master, to see how villains are crafted, right? Like emotionally, spiritually, intellectually, right? And I was just really stunned at simply the power of this film and how beautifully it depicted how do with all these people doing so much villainy in this world, doing terrible things, how do they sleep at night? And I know you could tell from this film, these guys are telling themselves they're the good guy, right? And it's just, and they craft such incredible, not only are they, and actually one of the things that was wild is they showed, actually I watched the movie, and at the end when they showed the actual guy and they showed the actual victims, I closed my eyes. I listened to it, but I closed my eyes. And the reason why is Hollywood just does such an incredible job of depicting this, and it's so much brighter than the documentary the documentary section of this. But I was just, everyone was like, there were a couple people that dealt with him for a length, and they're like, he just lied. He lied about everything, right? There was just lies just coming out. And I think we need to also understand, you want to know what a villain is? First of all, half the things out of their mouth are going to be lies, right? And like 3/4, maybe 80%, maybe even 90% of their speech is lies, just constant, ubiquitous lies, right? The other thing that was really interesting was just how many people are begging to be lied to. They don't want the truth. They don't want reality. They want a fiction, right? And it's powerful. And I'm sure I'm that way in some things, but like this was really something. And so, and I want you to understand, as Dungeon Masters and Dragon Masters, we are on the cutting edge of exploring American narrative, the very best of American narrative, the very best of American identity in ourselves, in others. And I think Dungeons and Dragons lets us understand the world in a way that no other secular source does. Sacred sources do, but I think that's the part that's so fat. And I've said this before, I'll say it here. I really think Dungeons and Dragons functions as a secular church. And I think a lot of people get they get the ick when I hear me say, but it's the reality. It is extremely real, right? And so I'm incredibly fortunate. I'm an evangelical Christian, and I know God the Father, Jesus the Son, and the Holy Spirit are with me, and they help me understand the world. But I'll tell you, if you don't have that, and you refuse to come, the closest you can get is D&D. It really helps you to see the world in an incredibly new light, and it makes you make the best secular life you can. Every single word you just heard in this video is my humble opinion. Nothing more, nothing less. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic, please consider liking and subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.